Hello there, you're watching Nightline with me, Muhammed, Ahmad, Hamdan. The top stories. GISBH CEO and wife among 19 individuals remanded for 7 days starting Thursday. Also, recent pager and walkie-talkie attacks in Lebanon, a declaration of war, says Hezbollah chief. We begin Nightline with news from the foreign front. Hezbollah chief Nasrallah on Thursday called the recent pager and walkie-talkie attacks a terrorist act and a declaration of war against the people of Lebanon and the country's sovereignty.
ما حصل يوم الثلاثاء ويوم الأربعاء. يوم الثلاثاء يعني أنا بس بدي أوصف اختصار كمدخل ولا معروف لكم صار. تم استهداف من قبل العدو الإسرائيلي آلاف أجهزة البيجر وتم تفجيرها في وقت واحد. العدو تجاوز في هذه العملية كل الضوابط والقوانين والخطوط الحمراء.
Despite this, Nasrallah said that Hezbollah would not jump to conclusions and announced that there would be an internal investigation into the device blasts. He also stressed that Hezbollah would not stop fighting Israel until the Gaza war is over. At least 37 people were killed and more than 3,000 wounded when pagers and later walkie-talkies used by Hezbollah members exploded in 2 waves of attacks on Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, the mobile device explosions have prompted widespread condemnation from regional and global leaders. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Nasir Kanani condemned the Zionist regime for the terrorist attacks targeting Lebanese citizens, characterizing it as a mass killing that contravenes all moral and legal standards. He added that these terrorist operations warrant international criminal prosecution, trial and punishment. Meanwhile, Russian Foreign Ministry described the explosions as a deliberate act of hybrid warfare against Lebanon and calling for a thorough investigation. Its spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said that this unprecedented attack represents a gross violation of Lebanon's sovereignty and poses a serious challenge to international law. European Union High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy Josep Borrell also warned that such actions threaten the security and stability of Lebanon and risk escalating tensions in the region. Meanwhile, the explosions have left Lebanese citizens in panic, fearing further attacks in the country.
إنه إسرائيل بيتأمل لها بشيء إنه إذا أطفال عم بيروحوها بيكون أهلهم معهم أجهزة صغيرة عم بيروحوا أكيد إنه خوفانين من هالقصة. أولادي وأولاد يعني إنه إخواتي وأولاد إخواتي وكلنا يعني إنه مين بعد بيأمن بهيك حالة 5000 جريح بفترة يومين إنه شغلة مش هينة. هيدي حرب. مين بعد يعني يأمن تليفون يعني لما عم تسمع هيك امبارح تركت التليفون بمطرح مش بقلب الموتوسيكل وفلت.
والله فزعان منه. حامله وفزعان منه.
شو رأيك فيه؟
والله يا أخي لك يعني الموضوع صفى موضوع دولي ما عادش موضوع يعني مثلا إسرائيل وأمريكا يا سيدي هن اللي عم يعملوا الأعمال كليتها ونحن بنروح بالطريق.
Malaysia is gravely concerned about the recent use of communication devices as explosives across Lebanon since September 17th, which has claimed multiple lives and injured thousands. In a statement on Thursday, the Foreign Ministry said Malaysia strongly condemns these attacks as they undermine Lebanon's security, stability and sovereignty. Wisma Putra stated that Malaysia stands in solidarity with Lebanon in this crisis and will cooperate with the international community to defuse and de-escalate the already tense situation. Malaysia also extends its deepest condolences and sympathies to the victims and families who have lost their loved ones in this tragedy, as well as to the government and the people of Lebanon. The statement further said that Malaysia also prays for the speedy recovery of those injured in the attacks. The ministry added that the Malaysian embassy in Beirut is monitoring the situation and is actively liaising with the local authorities. It also urged all Malaysians in Lebanon to stay updated of the latest developments and take due precautions while adhering to travel advisories from local authorities. What impact will Putra 35 have on Malaysia's economy? In what ways will Putra 35 drive growth across sectors? How is Putra 35 set to transform Malaysia's business landscape? Money Matters with Teraju CEO Junadi Nawawi this Saturday at 5 p.m. on TV3 and stream on Tonton. The Chief Executive Officer, CEO of Global Ikhwan Services and Business Holdings, Sendrian Berhad, GISBH, and his wife were among 19 individuals remanded for 7 days starting Thursday following the Op Global raids last week, which uncovered alleged wrongdoings at 20 welfare homes operated by the company. The others remanded comprising 12 men and 7 women, including members of the company's top management and 4 children of a former Al-Arqam leader. All of the suspects, aged between 25 and 65, were brought to the Shah Alam Magistrates Court under heavy police escort at 2:50 p.m. Magistrate 1 Nora Nisa Ngadirin then issued the remand order on the suspects following an application by the police made under Section 117 of the Criminal Procedure Code. Authorities are investigating the case under the Child Act, Communications and Multimedia Act, and Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Amendment Act. Earlier, Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein confirmed the arrest of the 19 suspects following simultaneous raids at 4 residential units in Bukit Bintang at 5:40 a.m. on Thursday. Last Wednesday, police rescued 402 children aged from 1 to 17 from 20 welfare homes in Selangor and Negeri Sembilan, which the authorities have linked to GISBH. Initial investigations revealed elements of child exploitation and abuse in connection to the case. A total of 171 individuals, comprising 66 men and 105 women, including caretakers, religious teachers, and the chairpersons of the premises, were also arrested in the operation. In the same magistrates' court, 5 men who attempted to leave Malaysia in 2 motorhomes bearing the GISBH logo have been remanded for a week. One of the individuals is the son of one of the company's leaders. The suspects, aged between 28 and 41, are being held under remand until September 25th, following a police application to facilitate further investigations. According to authorities, they are looking into why the 5 men were driving the motorhomes out of the country. The suspects were arrested at about 6 p.m. on Wednesday while attempting to cross the border via Bukit Kayu Hitam Immigration, Customs, Quarantine and Security Complex in Kedah. Police also seized both motorhomes and a car. The case is being investigated under the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Smuggling of Migrants Act. In Negeri Sembilan, 3 teaching assistants who were arrested during Op Global last week were charged in the Seremban Sessions Court on Thursday with 14 charges of sexual assault against 5 children. The trio, however, pleaded not guilty after the charges were read separately to them before Judge Datin Surita Budin. The first accused, 21-year-old Muhammad Habib Noor Muhammad Zairi, was slapped with 5 counts, including a charge of causing a 10-year-old boy to physically touch himself sexually. He was also charged with having physical sexual contact with 2 boys aged 9 and 11, with the offences committed at a madrasah in Kuala Pilah in 2022. The second accused, 20-year-old Muhammad Kunais Fatih Kabil, is facing 6 counts of sexual assault by having physical sexual contact with 2 boys aged 10 and 11 at the same location last year, while 22-year-old Ahmad Nazful Izham Azizan was charged with 3 similar charges against 2 boys, both aged 10, at the same location between June and December last year. All of the charges were framed under the Sexual Offences Against Children Act, which provides for a penalty of up to 20 years imprisonment and may also be subject to whipping. The court allowed all the accused bail of 12,000 ringgit for each charge, with additional conditions, and fixed October 30th for case remention. 2 enforcement officers from the Immigration Department have been remanded by the Seremban Magistrates Court for alleged corruption in connection to the illegal entry of foreigners using the counter-setting method at airports. One of them is believed to be the mastermind behind the counter-setting activities. Magistrate Fairoz Shuhada Amran on Thursday allowed the main suspect to be remanded for 5 days until September 23rd, while the other suspect was remanded for 7 days until September 25th. Both men in their 30s and 40s were arrested at the Negeri Sembilan Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC office on Wednesday when they showed up to have their statements recorded. According to sources, the suspects are believed to have conspired with the syndicate to facilitate the entry of foreigners who arrived through Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. It was alleged that they received bribes from syndicate agents as inducement for arranging special counters to release foreigners without requiring them to undergo proper checks. The case is being investigated under the MACC Act. Meanwhile, the Immigration Department is conducting a review and will implement extensive reforms to its work processes and service delivery. The move was taken following reports of counter-setting activities at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, involving the department's personnel. In a statement on Thursday, Immigration Director General Datuk Zakaria Shakban said the department acknowledged the weaknesses that have allowed syndicates to exploit counter-settings which enable foreign nationals who do not meet entry requirements to enter the country through special counter lanes. He also assured that these improvements will be implemented soon. He also emphasized the department's zero tolerance for such misconduct and is committed to providing full cooperation with the police and the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC. On Wednesday, MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azambaki confirmed the arrest of 60 individuals, including 50 enforcement officers, for their alleged involvement in counter-setting activities and corrupt practices at both KLIA 1 and KLIA 2 entry points. He also outlined 11 weaknesses identified as the major factors for such misconduct, including weak internal controls, which made it easier for syndicate agents to have access to immigration officers, as well as the absence of a proper rotation system for officers stationed at both airports. Moving on, Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim has urged state governments to collaborate with the federal government to achieve the goal of modernising land administration nationwide. He said that the move not only aims to improve governance efficiency for the benefit of the people and investors, but also serves as a benchmark in the World Bank's assessments. In a Facebook post following the 81st National Land Council meeting on Thursday morning, Anwar, who is also Finance Minister, stressed the importance of maximising land productivity instead of merely relying on land area to meet national objectives. He added the meeting serves as a platform for the federal and state governments to discuss land administration policies, besides acting as a catalyst for the Madani government concept, which focuses on addressing the people's needs through economic growth and effective governance. He also said that state governments are urged to enhance cooperation and understanding in order to balance state priorities with federal policies, ensuring they are aligned with Malaysia's international commitments. Among these commitments is the goal of maintaining at least 50% forest cover as part of efforts to mitigate and adapt to climate change, as well as conserve biodiversity. UN General Assembly overwhelmingly calls for end of Israeli occupation. This and more from the Foreign Front when Nightline returns.
Itu 100 kilogram. Ini ada 2. Pontianak 200 kilogram.
Kemboja datang ni nak tolong abang perangkap Pontianak.
So sweet.
Korang tak nak lari ke?
Oh, kau dah fikir habis-habisan ke? Ini tengkok aku ke tengkok kau
Tunggu apa lagi tu? Undian ABPBH 36 dah bermula sehingga 30 September 2024. Undi siapa paling popular di www.abpbh.com.my atau imbas kod QR sekarang. Nak undi pukal? Langgan je banyak-banyak akhbar digital dan naskah fizikal berita harian. Anugerah Bintang Popular Berita Harian 36. Teguh kita bersama.
Welcome back. Onto the foreign front. The United Nations General Assembly UNGA on Wednesday has adopted a Palestinian-drafted non-binding resolution demanding Israel end its unlawful presence in the occupied Palestinian territory within 12 months. During the UNGA's 10th emergency special session, there were 124 votes in favour and 14 against, including Israel, along with 43 abstentions. The UNGA also called on Israel to make preparations to Palestinians for damages incurred by the occupation. The resolution is based on a July advisory opinion from the International Court of Justice, which stated that Israel was occupying the West Bank, East Jerusalem and the Gaza Strip in violation of international law. The Palestinian ambassador called the vote a turning point in their struggle for freedom and justice, while the Israeli government denounced it as diplomatic terrorism. Although the General Assembly's resolutions are not binding, they carry symbolic and political weight as they reflect the positions of all 193 member states of the UN. Cash-strapped Sri Lanka is set to vote for its next president on Saturday in an effective vote on an unpopular International Monetary Fund austerity plan enacted after the island nation's unprecedented financial crisis. Its President Ranil Wickremesinghe urged voters to give him a fresh mandate to continue with austerity measures that would stabilise the economy and end months of food, fuel and medicine shortages. Wickremesinghe faces two formidable challenges, including Anurakumara Dissanayaka, the leader of a once marginal Marxist party tarnished by its violent past, and fellow opposition leader Sajith Premadasa, once dismissed as the princeling dynast of a former president assassinated in 1993 during the country's decades-long civil war. As election rallies concluded on Wednesday night after a 56-day campaign period, the country entered a cooling-off period of 2 days ahead of Saturday's vote. Some 17.1 million people are eligible to vote, and over 200,000 officials have been deployed to conduct the election, which will be guarded by 63,000 police officers. Results are expected by Sunday. South Korea's National Police on Thursday said that they plan to spend nearly $7 million over the next 3 years on technology to battle deepfakes, voice cloning and other forms of digital fraud. It stated $2 million a year will be allocated until 2027 to develop deep learning technology to detect digitally fabricated content. In addition, they would also spend thousands of dollars to upgrade their current software for monitoring deepfakes and other AI-generated videos. South Korea has long battled sexual cyber violence, but cases are up 11-fold this year from 2018. In recent weeks, authorities have uncovered a sprawling network of Telegram chat rooms, often set up within schools and universities, in which users shared AI-generated deepfake porn depicting female students and staff. Wei Chong Kaiwon stunned world champs to reach quarterfinals. Action from the China Open when we come back.
Udah lipan ni dia tak ada mesin. Dia sentiasa ada tapi dia tengok daripada kuasan. Kuasan tu kata ada lipan kan. Memang dia ada. Banyak sikit memang dia ada.
Mi kari dia lah, paling terbaik lah. Orang kata kalau mana-mana tempat kita pergi, memang takkan jumpa lah mi kari orang lipan ni.
Empangan ni sebenarnya kalau ayak penuh dia cantik, dia green, tapi bila ayak surut tu nampak macam lombong lah.
Tu sedih tu lah. Tengok bekas tu duk, ambil mata. Ingat kubur.
OMG, ramai kata 16 kategori ABPBH 36 tak cukup kan? Jadi kami tambah lagi 5 kategori ekstra ditonton. Undi sekarang di aplikasi Tonton atau www.tonton.com.my atau imbas kod QR sehingga 30 September ini. Percuma 20 undian dan langgan Tonton Up untuk gandakan undian. Jom undi banyak-banyak sampai favourite korang menang. ABPBH 36 Teguh, kita bersama.
We're back with sports. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has ordered the Football Association of Malaysia, FAM, to prepare a strategic plan and key performance indicators, KPIs, to ensure the improvement of the Harimau Malaya squad's performance. This request was made following the government's commitment to allocate 15 million ringgit to support efforts to strengthen the national team, including the national under-23 squad. Anwar stressed that the Finance Ministry as well as the Youth and Sports Ministry will be monitoring the utilisation of the funds periodically. The Prime Minister also emphasised the government's commitment to strengthening the national sports ecosystem, adding that the allocation for Harimau Malaya will not reduce the funding provided to other sports. Meanwhile, Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Yeoh said her ministry will be roping in the Asian Football Confederation to review the National Football Development Programme for further improvements. The AFC Champions League 2 now, Selangor FC began their campaign with a 1-1 away draw against Thailand's Muang Thong United FC in Group H on Thursday. Both teams failed to break the deadlock in the first half. The Red Giants, however, drew the first blood just 2 minutes after the restart through Ronia Fernandez. Stunned, the home team piled on the pressure and found the equaliser through Purachet Totsanit in the 54th minute. The 1-1 scoreline remained until the final whistle, and both teams had to settle for a point. Muhammed Nizam Jamil's men will take on Cebu FC of the Philippines next in their second Group H match on October 3rd. And on to badminton, the 2024 China Open. National men's doubles pair Man Wei Chong, T Kai Wun pulled off a sensational upset by defeating South Korean world champions Kang Min Hyuk, Seo Seung Jae in the second round. The world number 13 pair outplayed the Hong Kong Open champions 21-18, 21-19 in a match that lasted 39 minutes. They will face compatriots Goh Zefei, Nur Izzuddin Rumsani in the quarterfinals. Also through to the quarterfinals were men's doubles professional pair Ong Yu Sin, Teo Yi. The world number 23 duo saw off Taiwanese pair Li Fangqi, Li Fangzhen 21-19, 21-14 to set up a quarterfinal clash with Indonesia's Fajar Alfian, Rian Ardianto. In the mixed doubles action, world number 12 Goh Sun Huat, Chevan Lai booked their spots in the quarterfinals with a convincing 21-16, 21-12 victory over Thailand's Supat Jumko, Supisara Pei Sampran in the second round. Also following in their footsteps were another mixed doubles shuttlers Hu Pangron, Cheng Su Yin, who checked into the last 8 after overcoming compatriots Yap Roy King, Valerie Xiao 21-9, 21-15 in the second round. Meanwhile, it was the end of the road for national women's doubles pair Perlitan Mtina. The world number 8 pair went down 16-21, 18-21 to China's world number 18 pair Li Yijing, Luo Su-min after a 40-minute battle on court. Mixed doubles pair Chen Tangjie, To Yiwei also suffered the same fate as they were beaten by Indonesia's world number 16 pair Dejan Ferdinandsyah Gloria Emmanuel Widjaja 15-21, 21-13, 9-21. Lorry driver remanded for role in 10 vehicle pileup. The details when we come back.
Diving deep into the business world
with expert insights and in-depth analysis.
The latest trends and developments shaping the country, region and the globe.
Key insights into finance.
On Money Matters.
Every Saturday at 5 p.m.
on TV3 and stream on Tonton.
Semua fan club dah sedia ke nak tengok artis kegemaran anda menang trofi ABPBH 36 secara langsung? Rebut tiket anda di www.tonton.com.my sebab tempat duduk sangatlah terhad. Tak sabarnya anugerah bintang popular berita harian 36. Untuk maklumat lanjut, layari www.tonton.com.my. ABPBH 36 eksklusif di TV3 dan boleh juga stream melalui Tonton. Teguh, kita bersama.
Welcome back. The hearing of the government's appeal against the Kuala Lumpur High Court's order to transfer ownership of over 106 hectares of land in Mukim Batu to Semantan Estates in Berhad has been postponed to November 7th. The adjournment was granted by a three-member panel of the Court of Appeal led by Justice Datuk Lee Swee Seng following a request from Senior Federal Counsel Shamsul Bolhassan citing ongoing negotiations. Justice Lee fixed the date to hear two applications, namely the mandamus order filed by Semantan Estate and the government's appeal of the August 7th transfer order issued by High Court Judge Dato Ahmad Shahrir Muhammad Saleh. The disputed land, located in the prime Jalan Duta area known as the Duta Enclave, houses government buildings that include the National Hockey Stadium, the National Archives, the Kuala Lumpur Sharia Court, the Inland Revenue Board building and the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Academy. On August 7th, Judge Ahmad Shahrir ordered the government to transfer ownership of the land to Semantan Estate after allowing the company's originating summons against the Kuala Lumpur Land Registrar. Subsequently, the government filed an appeal the following day and on September 12th, successfully obtaining a stay of the High Court's decision, pending the disposal of the government's appeal. And lastly, in Negeri Sembilan, a lorry driver who was involved in a 10-vehicle pileup which caused the death of a man on Wednesday has been remanded for 2 days. The remand against the 38-year-old man was granted by Magistrate Marlisa Muhammad Fahmi at the Seremban Magistrates Court on Thursday to facilitate police investigations into the case. According to Seremban Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Muhammad Hatta Cik Din, the man had tested positive for methamphetamine. He added that the case is being investigated under the Road Transport Act and Dangerous Drugs Act. In the 1:25 p.m. incident, a lorry carrying stones went out of control and crashed into the vehicles in front of it at Lingkaran Tengah, Seremban. A 31-year-old man whose car was pinned under the lorry died at the scene, while a 48-year-old was admitted into the intensive care unit at the Tuanku Jaafar Hospital. And that wraps up this edition of Nightline. Before we go, let's take a look as Australian extreme sports athlete Tahi Monroe won the speed race of a wingsuit world championship held at China's Tianmen Mountain. With that, I'm Muhammed. Hamdan. Thanks for watching and stay safe.